Hello, my hungry peeps! This is Kat, aka Kakibot, and this weekend I am taking you on a little tour of brand spanking new places to eat and drink coffee here in Edinburgh. We're gonna need some coffee because it is very cold, as you can tell. It snowed, it's freezing, and it's supposed to be freezing for the next week. So yeah, I think coffee sounds great. Now we're gonna be going to 6 newly opened spots, and if you've been in Edinburgh before, then maybe you are looking for some exciting new places to visit, something refreshing and unexpected. Or if you're a local, then you probably know that it is quite brave to be opening a new place for the winter season after 2020 and 2021. So I'm sure this is gonna be a great inspiration for all of you, to create a list of places that you can visit and support with your custom when they need it the most. Okay, let's get started with the newness and tastiness. So our first stop is here at the west end of Princess Street, and the first place we're gonna visit is the West End Brasserie, which used to be called Ryan's Bar and was more of a pubby, bar establishment, and now it's more of a posh kind of French style eatery. We stopped by here this morning for breakfast because we thought that would be the cheaper thing to do, but we really enjoyed it. I had pancakes which were dinky, but the toppings were really tasty. There was lemon curd and biscuit crumb, and I think some like creme fraiche and blueberries, and I really enjoyed them. Simon had a croque madame. I probably don't have to explain that, but you will see it in the B-roll. Overall, I think it's a good place if you're perhaps a bit tired of Scottish cuisine, but they do also have some Scottish things on the menu. I think they do Cullen skink, and they do have quite a lot of like Scottish seafood. They have a seafood platter and they have some Scottish salmon. I also have to say that price-wise, it's a pretty standard pricing for something that looks relatively fancy. So yeah, bonus points for that. Neither into French or Scottish, maybe you can pop on kind of further along Queensferry Street, which is just that one behind me, and visit Hobbs Izakaya. And let me just say that whenever someone asked me in the past if there's anything that I'm missing on the Edinburgh food scene, I always said I really wish we had Japanese style izakaya, which, if you're not familiar, is kind of like a little sort of like a bar with food in Japan. It tends to be quite small. This one is actually really large and specializes in Japanese style yakitori skewers. So you can get the tori, the chicken variety, but they also do beef. They do a lot of veggies, and my favorite, the tamago, which is kind of like a sweet, savory omelette. Nom 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 nom. They also do udon dishes, also like a small udon as a side, which is a really nice thing to have like on a really cold day like today. Overall, a really nice atmosphere, a really pleasant service. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I have to say that it got a bit expensive, but if you're looking for a place to share some like small finger food with your friends and you don't want it to be like pub food or tapas, this is a great alternative to that. Today we made it down to Leith. Please don't get too distracted by me shooting this in a cemetery, because this is currently the quietest, most calm area of Leith because of all the tram works. We are going to be visiting 2 places in that area. One of them is a bit of a heartbreaking scenario because it used to be La Favorita, a very well-known pizza restaurant. A pizza restaurant that was here for us way before all of the hip new Neapolitan pizzas and Detroit slices. It just used to be such a great staple with inventive flavors and great drinks, and it had this like ongoing family tradition owned by the Vittoria Group. Now they have decided to rebrand it as Antonetta, and it's a different concept. It's kind of like colorful, and I wouldn't say it's hip, it's definitely still very Italian, but it is also kind of like targeting more of that sort of young, sort of Instagrammy, TikToky crowd, is my guess. I have to say that the food there is still very tasty, and I will point out one thing, which is that one of my favorite things that used to be on the La Favorita menu, which was the delicious meatballs in amazing sugo, is still on the menu now. So yeah, if you go there, get any of the weirdly colored pasta or pizza, but don't forget to get some meatballs for your starter. A bit lower on Leith Walk, almost towards the end, is a new bakery. It is a Maltese-owned bakery. I do love a good immigrant business. It is called Hobbs, and they do bread and pastries and coffee and toasties, and all of it is delicious. We just stopped there today, and they do have a lot of Christmas specials as well. So if you're watching this before Christmas, you should definitely pop in there and get yourself some tasty Christmassy treats. I gotta say, one thing that really hit my eyeballs there is that the coffee is actually really affordable. Where we live around Haymarket, you definitely cannot get a flat white for $2.70. I know that sounds like quite a reasonable price, maybe even a bit high, but $2.70 these days really isn't much for a nice coffee. At Hobbs, you can get a flat white for $2.70 or a really nice batch brew for I think $3.2. One thing to keep in mind, they are only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And also I heard that it's good to come early in the day because that's when they are, full of their goods and wares and tasty treats. And later in the day they kind of sell out because they are popular, as they deserve to be. And now to my favoritist of all treats, coffee. But before I take you to Edinburgh's 2 newly opened coffee shops, I'm first gonna say that if you made it all the way here to this point in this video, you probably don't hate me and how I make videos, and you would like to hear more about newly opened spots every now and then, and maybe other things to do in Edinburgh, or how to move here, and practical info on how to live here. And for that, the only thing you have to do is to subscribe and maybe click the bell, because that way you will never miss any of those great videos. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna tell you about first one of the coffee shops, which is Beatnik, and that's on the west side of the Meadows. So super practical if you're visiting for a couple of days and you're kind of doing the sort of circle of the biggest sites, which I think Meadows is one of. It's also kind of right in the sort of studenty area of things. It has amazing coffee. I am usually a white coffee person, but this is a place where I was able to have just black coffee, and it was so tasty that I wasn't missing the milk at all. Look at me. That's growth. They also do pastries from Nice Times Bakery, who made our wedding cake. Fun fact. Now the second place is super exciting. It is in the Canonmills area, close to one of my favorites of all time, Hatta. This is the Singapore Coffee House, and as you can tell from the name, they are inspired by Singaporean kopitiams, which basically translates into it's a coffee house that also serves food, usually kind of lighter bites, breakfast and lunch, and that's exactly what Singapore Coffee House does. They do have a really intriguing menu that just launched relatively recently, and we popped over on a weekend. They do breakfast until midday, and from that point on you can get a lot of delicious lunchy things as well. Just to give you an idea, the Singaporean cuisine is kind of somewhere between South Asian and East Asian when it comes to the flavors you can expect. So it's a little bit of dishoom and a little bit of Hong Kong style cafe. Delicious bread, Hong Kong style toast. I had this toast with a coconut and pineapple jam, which you would dip into soft boiled egg, which sounds strange, but it really works. It's kind of sweet and savory. It gives you all of these sensations. The coffee also very tasty. You can again have it black. Quite smooth, so enjoyable, even just black. But the most traditional way of drinking it would be with some condensed milk. Kind of like Vietnamese coffee in a way. that was it, my peeps. 6 new places that you should visit as soon as you get back to Edinburgh, or if you're here, as soon as you can, because I'm gonna say it again, I know I mention it all the time, but these newly opened places, they really need your support. So yeah, please do that. If you have any money left after your gas bill rolls in, throw it at some Singaporean coffee and some izakaya treats from McGrill and other wonderful noms. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's it from me for now. Let me know in the comments below if you've been to any of these or which one of these you would like to visit the most. I think that for 2022, this is it from me. If I don't manage to make any more videos until the end of the year, then have an amazing new year, have an amazing holiday season. Don't forget to say hi to me on Instagram. I'm gonna be able to, you know, exchange messages there with you if you want to stay in touch. That's gonna be kakibot or kakiblog for either art or photos of my life here in Edinburgh. And yeah, stay in touch, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in 2023. Hopefully this one will finally be good. Bye.